Hey there, today I'm going to show you the system I've created for my fitness coaching business, and it's going to be a bit of an ASMR. I have to talk quietly because my girlfriend is sleeping, but if your current coaching sheets look a lot like this, or like this, like mine did in the past, stick around because I want to show you the system I've made to save tens of hours each month on manual tasks for my fitness clients. So I'm going to show you a couple of things, the first of which is how I set up my client database. Then we're going to see how I profile my clients and how I get their individual needs automatically. We're then going to go on to something a bit more interesting, which is the nutrition plan builder. A very interesting feature here is that I can create a nutrition plan variation in just a couple of clicks. So just a quick overview. We're going to replace those 4 eggs with, let's say, some pork tenderloin. We're going to select the food and boom, we're automatically going to get the quantity that replaces 4 eggs. We're going to get to this in a second, but let me show you the other stuff. So we're also going to see how I track my clients' weight and habits and activity, as well as their body measurements, also known as anthropometry. And we're also going to see how I plan and how I track my clients' training. So this is another neat feature where I can assign loads for each workout individually based on the RP system, which I've implemented with 0.1 increments for better precision. So I can essentially select an RP and I'm going to get an individual load. Again, we're going to get to this in a second, but this is just a little teaser. And last but not least, we're going to see the newest addition to the system, which is the financial tracker. This is the basic initial version, and by the time you've finished watching this vid, this will probably be updated. So that's about it. Without further ado, let's get to it. It's quite simple. First, we're going to start off with the database. So this is how I set it up. I have a folder for my coaching, then I have a folder for my clients, and at the very top I have my control center where I keep all my templates for my training plans, for my tracking sheets and the nutrition, as well as my finances. So this is where I control everything. That's why, of course, it's called a control center. And below that we have individual folders for each client. So each client has their own directory. They are indexed with a number, just for the sake of being a bit more organized. And inside of that folder is essentially a mirror image of the control center. So each client has their nutrition plan, their tracking system, and their training plan inside of their directory. From here on, my first goal is to profile my clients so I get all the data I need to create a properly individualized plan of action. Based on this data, I get the client's individual nutritional needs, their BMR, TD, weight loss, calories, weight gain, as well as their macronutrients according to the goal. So here I've set up essentially a demo client. This is John Smith. He's a skinny guy who's a bit tall, and his goal is to gain muscle. So based on this, I can now start building his nutrition plan. This is the nutrition plan builder. So this right here is one meal, and it's copy pasted as many times as you wish. At the very top we have a reference to his allergies and his target calories based on the goal. The target calories change based on the goal. So right now you see 2264, and if we change the goal to muscle gain, it's gonna go up. So this is just the builder. This is kind of the back end where I build the nutrition plan, and here I've created a very simple nutrition plan of 4 meals. Of course, as any other calorie tracking app, we get the individual calories for each food based on the quantity, and we get the nutrition facts for each meal as well. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. As a coach, you probably know how nutrition plan building works, and what I want to highlight here is what the user sees. So let me slide myself here. So essentially, when I build the plan, when I build their profile, I hide those sheets, and what the user is left with is this page where they can easily see what I assigned for their nutrition plan. So one of the things I noticed is that many clients want some variety in their nutrition, so it's rarely that it's rarely that someone can stick to one specific meal plan for an extended period of time, so most people want some kind of variety. And at one point I found myself going on MyFitnessPal and calculating calories and macronutrients and so on and so forth. And I was spending a bit too much time to give my client a variation of a nutrition plan or a replacement food for any food in their plan that they wanted to change. So what I did here is I made it possible in just 2 clicks. So without sounding complicated, let's just give the most basic example. This specific demo nutrition plan consists of 4 eggs in meal 1, which is breakfast. And let's say that client wants to get fancy and change their eggs on that specific day for some smoked salmon. So what I can do for him, or he can do himself, is he can go to this food, open up the drop down, and basically find the smoked salmon, and boom, they get their variation automatically. So they just select a food and they get the quantity of that food that replaces the default one. So of course this can be done for essentially any any one food. Let's build the whole thing. So maybe some mozzarella with the smoked salmon, and instead of oats they're gonna go for some whole grain bread, so that kind of becomes a toast, doesn't it? And their bananas they can replace with, let's see, maybe some peaches. And right now, in just a couple of seconds, they have their own variation of the nutrition plan, and what they can do is simply copy this, or you can do it as a coach, I actually recommend it, and create a variation. So this is actually one of the neat features of the nutrition planner. It does save a lot of time over time, especially if you work with 15-20 plus clients. This is a manual task that this system automates. So that's about it. That's the nutrition planner. Now we're gonna go on to the weight tracker. So my goal with the weight tracker is to be able to track their weight, their average weight for the week, and any other factor that affects it. So we track weight, we track sleep, steps, water if the person tracks it, and mostly we don't, but some people count their calories, and we can also track those. So we can count calories, carbs, and salt. What we get here is the week low, we get the total steps and the total sleep, and at the bottom we have the averages for each specific data point. Another interesting thing here is that when you set up a starting date, the whole calendar gets filled out. So let's say we do this, and they have an entire calendar for 48 weeks ahead. So I made this to basically last a year. I decided not to create a monthly or weekly calendar, I just made it long term, and this is how it works. So essentially at the end of each week they get their average and they get their weight change. So let's say we go to week 2 and the person gained, let's say, okay, that's too big of a gain, let's say they went up to 74.5. So now we get again over time we get the average and we get the weight change. The weight change can be plus or minus, because this system compares this week's average to last week's average. So that's it. That's essentially one day, and again we have an entire week, and this is the whole thing is like a 1 month calendar basically. This is the way I track weight and I track habits, and I found with over 50 clients that this is quite intuitive to use, and most people make the habit of entering this data because it only takes about a minute a day. So next up is the tracker for body measurements. So this is how I do it. I get them to get initial measurements, and they are written right here at the very top. Again, we have, of course, a starting date, and we get the fill out, and we get today's date in red. So this is basically day one, and here they enter their measurements each week. So what this sheet does is it shows the progress over time, and it compares the current week's measurement to the starting point. So it's quite nice to have this because the person has a reference point. They can see their progress over time, and it's not just a log. It's a place where the user can go and see how far they've come with the process. So it's quite simple. It's essentially this function, and it's repeated for other measurements. You can modify and add things here if you wish. But yeah, that's the tracker for body measurements. So next up is the training plan. So this here, as I've mentioned, this system, this training planner, allows for assigning individual specific loads. So at the very start, we get to test their maximum, and we enter it in this neat little calculator, which gets the 1 rep max. And then we can go on to the specific training phase and assign an RPE for that specific exercise. So in this case, we have a 1 rep max of 124 on the bench. And let's say I want this person to go easy on the first phase. So I'm going to assign an RPE of 7.5. And we're going to get the load automatically. I want to make this clear. So the load is calculated based on RPE you assign, as well as the reps you assign. So the system basically makes sure that regardless of the reps that are assigned, the RPE is always the one that you assigned. So in this case, 94 is 7.5 RPE for 5 reps. But if I change the reps to 8, the load is going to change again. So again, this is a system that allows for constant RPE. This is a concept called relative intensity. You should know it as a fitness coach. And this calculation is usually done for barbell lifts. So it's not specific to machines and accessory movements, cables, and so on. It's mostly done for barbell lifts. So some other interesting things about this training planner is some stats at the top, so the user can see their total sets, total volume, and they can also mark the workout as complete. And you can also track their achievements in the last column and leave comments right here for that specific workout. The neat thing about this is that you can essentially plan an entire training cycle and plan their loads for that training cycle with just a couple of clicks. So you don't have to do calculations or give numbers off the top of your head. You can be very specific, very precise with assigning the workloads. And the good thing is that the user can also change it based on how they feel on their training day. So let's say I want my trainee to go balls to the wall on the bench press, and I assign an RPE of 9 for a set of 5, and maybe they go to the gym and they just don't feel like themselves. They don't feel strong. They're tired. They don't have the strength, and they hit you up and they're like, "Coach, I'm not at it today. What's the weight I should use?" And that's again where you don't just throw a number off the top of your head. You go into your system and you're like, okay, this person feels a bit off, so we're gonna drop him down to 7.5, and this happens in a matter of seconds and registers on their end as well. So that's about the training planner. And lastly, we have the financial planner. So again, this is kind of a new feature, but it's currently enough. So we gather some data about the client, like name, lead source, which is where the user came from. I can get their contact information, and I can write down their subscription cost. So usually I work on monthly subscriptions with my clients, and then I can also select the payment type and their status. So this right here, the monthly income, updates dynamically with the status of each client. So right now it's 1,180, and if this client becomes active, it's gonna go up. If someone becomes inactive, it's gonna go down. So you get the gist. I also created a directory for my personal expenses where I can track like what I purchased this month, how much it cost, and what's the total of my personal expenses. We get that number up here as well, and this total of personal expenses is taken out of the monthly income, and we get the savings. So this will get updated in the future with more interesting analytics, but I believe this is a nice initial version. And so that's about it. Thank you for watching this. If you found it useful and you want to get the system, you can purchase it at the link in the description. I've launched it on the market at a one-off single-time payment of $47. And after you make the payment, you'll be taken to a page where I show you how to download and set everything up to optimize your workflow and get things going. Again, thanks for watching and see you soon.